Caleb came to Joshua and said, I know where my foot has been, I know where we've been from here, and I have a dream that God gave me. God gave me a dream for that mountain and the hill country around it. Isn't that kind of rough country, Caleb? Yes, don't care. If that's where God has told me I can go, I want it. Aren't there giants over there, Caleb? Yes. God's told me we can have it, don't care. But Caleb, there's giants. There were giants before when I came over here and told everybody we could take the land. I don't care. But Caleb, there's huge fortified cities. Son, I was there when we went across the Red Sea and God wiped away the biggest army in the world. Don't care. We're going. God gave me that mountain country and I'm taking that mountain country. I want my mountain because God gave it to me and I believe God. Now that we're coming into a point of transition as a church family, every one of you has a dream in your heart. God puts it there. You have a gifting. You have something that you can do. You have something that you can change, something that you can conquer in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Because we're all part of His body. We're all part of one big church. No matter how much this microphone keeps trying to fall off my head, we are all part of one church with one message that God has given you a mountain. God has given you something or someone that needs to happen. Some of this kind of stuff has already begun, believe it or not. Much like the Israelites when they camped at Gilgal, they had already taken Jericho. They had already taken Ai and Bethel. They had already made a pact with the Gibeonites and then routed 6 armies after that. They had already done some fighting. They had already done some conquering. Things have already begun here. Don't believe me? Wasn't that long ago, we did not have a men's campfire ministry. It's had at least 3 meetings now. One of them was last night, I assume. It did. I got confirmation. I apologize. I couldn't come. I had conflict. I've been to the 2 before that, though. And I plan to come back. God put that mountain in one of our church members' hearts. And he went and he started scaling that mountain. Now, Caleb didn't do this alone. He went with his family. In fact, the first judge listed in the book of the Judges was Othniel, Caleb's nephew. And Caleb's nephew, Othniel, helped him take the Hebron region. So it's not like we're in this alone. But if you have a vision in your heart, if God has given you a ministry that needs to happen here, if God has given you a person that needs to hear about Jesus, if God has given you a book, you need to give to someone else. If God has given you a letter, you need to write to someone else. If God has given you a phone call, you need to make to someone else. That is your mountain. Go take your mountain. Jesus is with you. You're not alone. Your church family is with you. You're not alone. But God gives us the vision of our mountain so that we go build His kingdom. So that we join Him in expanding His work. Go take your mountain. Whatever it is, we as a church body cannot truly and genuinely move forward. We cannot really and truly prepare the way for the next man that God is bringing to us to be His under-shepherd here at our church until all the rest of us understand that God has given us a mountain to go take. We must prepare for our future together by realizing that each one of us has something to contribute. Each one of us, regardless of how old or young you are. Remember, Caleb was 85 years old when this happened. 85. The man had been through a lot. Even for that time, in that place where Moses lived for 120 years, most folks who were 85 years old were ancient. Caleb had been there 85 years. And he looked Joshua in the eye and said, God told me I can have that mountain. I want my mountain. How many of you have given up on your mountain because you said, I'm too old, I'm too young, or I just have too much else to do? Guess who else said those kinds of things? Everybody else in the nation of Israel that didn't bother to actually take over the land they were given. And there were a lot of them. A lot of them. It took forever before they finally took over Jerusalem. They kind of surrounded it in the territory of Judah, but they never actually got the city. They just kind of left it alone. There were several of the tribe of Manasseh who couldn't even take over the land they were supposed to have, much less the land that they tried to get out and take beforehand across the Jordan River in the Transjordan. That would be to the east side of the Jordan, if you're wondering. There are all kinds of people who did not trust God to go do other things because they were too busy. You know who else got distracted by details and did not take the land that they were supposed to go and take? A wee bit earlier, a history lesson, even for these folks. The other 10 that went in with Joshua and Caleb. They walked in, they saw the same place, they heard the same words, they heard the same promises that Caleb and Joshua heard. They had all been through the Red Sea, the exact same way that Joshua and Caleb had. They had all been through all of these things. They had seen the plagues in Egypt, just like Joshua and Caleb had. He was easily able to remember all the chain jerking that Pharaoh did to their whole group. He was easily able to remember going through the Red Sea. He was easily able to remember that. So were the rest of the 10 spies. They'd all been there. They'd all done that. They all saw the same stuff. They all heard the same messages. And they came back and they said, well, you know what? It's a great land. Rich, good farmland, good vineyards, good orchards, nice, beautiful cities, good views, and giants, and fortified cities, and the land eats its people. Nice place to visit, not sure we want to live there. They got distracted. They got distracted. God had given them a dream, He had given them the promise, and those 12 men got the privilege of going and scouting it out first. They got to see it. They got to actually go walk around on it. One of them stood up and said, "Really, guys? Really? We just came through a sea. God just parted waters and we walked through on dry land. We turned around and thought we were dead because of Pharaoh's army and God washed them away. They're gone. There isn't one anymore. Our God pulled us out of Egypt, brought us through a sea and brought us over it. There's not a giant in that land that can stop us. God is with us. My God is with me, and I don't care how many of them there are." And the other 10 said, "Yeah, but giants and forts and angry land." And so the people of Israel looked around and went, 10, 2. Because by this time Joshua had joined in. 10, 2. And statistics outweighed the call of God. And they wandered around until they died in the wilderness. Don't get distracted by details. God has put a vision in your heart. He has put a dream in you. He has put someone or something that needs your hand. It doesn't have to have you, no. But God put it there because He wants you to be the one to do it. God put that vision, that dream in Caleb's heart for Hebron because He wanted Caleb to go do it. And Caleb said, "I'm 85 years old, but I can still get up, I can still go, I can still fight." There's a great common word for how Caleb felt about himself. He probably would have described himself, since Caleb was Jewish and early Jewish, without a lot of the other constraints of piety and Pharisees and things like that. He probably would have described himself as full of vinegar and, well, something else I can't quite remember. But you get the drift. Caleb said, "It's mine. God gave it to me. And I don't care how many of them there are, how big they are, or how long it takes. He told me I can go get it. I can go get it. I want my mountain." For every one of you, it is my prayer this year. Go take your mountain. Want your mountain. Desire your mountain. Why? Because God gave it to you. It's the gift of God to you. Will it take work? Yeah. But you know what? It wasn't like Jesus just kind of coasted to the cross either. You know? It wasn't like Jesus just sort of breezed through His ministry either. It wasn't like Moses had it easy for like the 40 years he was leading Israel. It wasn't just a cushy desk job, you know. He didn't just come into the air-conditioned building, sit down, kick up his feet, and ask for reports at the end of the week. It's not the way it worked. Will it be hard? It might be. Will it be frustrating? Sometimes, maybe. But you know what? If God has put it in your heart, He's there with you, and you will not fail. If you step forward and go, take your mountain. Now, sitting in a pew, looking forward at me, makes it very easy to hear this message. It makes it harder to stand up, walk out of the pew, walk out of the building, and actually take your mountain. All right? I'm encouraging you now. Don't let these words stop in your heart in this room. Don't let them check at the door. Carry them with you. Out this door, out that door, out that door, out that one if you go that way. And no, you can't get past me. Out that one, out that one, out that one, out that one. And Tim, don't leave it up in the sound booth. Go take your mountain. Take the dream with you in your heart to lunch this afternoon and pray over it when you ask God to bless your food. Ask Him, how do I get there from here? Where do I go from here? Where do I put my feet from here? How do I know He'll tell you? Because He told Caleb, He told Joshua, He told Elijah, He told Elisha, He told Samuel, He told David, He told John the Baptist, He told Jesus, He told Peter when Peter decided to step out of a boat that was floating on water. He told John, He told James, He told Philip when He plopped him down on a road in the middle of nowhere where he saw an Ethiopian coming by. He told Stephen, the first deacon, do not falter, do not fail, and do not get discouraged. Remember, Caleb had to wait for this a long time. He prayed for this for a long time. Caleb was like that really awesome man of God, the great deacon in a church, that stands up and says to the church, we really need to go this way because God is at work among us and does this. And everyone looks around and goes, and then votes against him in the business meeting. I'll let y'all think about that for a minute. A generation later, the plan moves forward and the Lord's people build up. Follow the Lord. Take your mountain. Whatever He's put in here, go reach for it. Walk with Him and take your mountain. How do I know that Caleb did it? Because it says in verse 14, therefore Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, until this day. It goes on later in the scriptures to say that he actually slew and ran off all of the Anakim, all of the giants. Caleb's people defeated every last one of them, purged the land of them, took the whole place over, with or without a microphone that would stay on his ear. And Caleb took his mountain and all the area around it, and he sealed an inheritance for his people because God gave him a dream and he went to seize it. Go take your mountain.